Alcohol, marijuana, cocaine, required as a U.S. citizen to be consumed after you turn 21. Hi everyone, my name is Lauren Garcia, and today I'll be making the point as to why the United States should install a mandate that any citizen over the age of 21 has to try all three substances: alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine. So to begin, I want to highlight the problems with the current way things are done. Currently, you have to be 21 years old to consume alcohol and at least 18 to smoke a joint of marijuana, and cocaine is completely illegal. The combination of that age limit puts a big taboo on the three substances, and things like movies, TV shows, music videos, songs, and other forms of media tend to romanticize the three substances, making them seem cool and fun and sexy even. Also, things like peer pressure, especially if you have friends who are older and consume those substances, can really put a pressure on minors to take these three substances. And doing this when you're too young or your brain isn't fully developed, let's say, can lead to long-lasting mental health issues, and potentially death. By introducing this mandate that you have to be 21 years old and you have to try alcohol, cocaine, and marijuana, I believe will get rid of that issue. With this mandate, there would have to be some serious guidelines that would be in place. So the plan would be, within 3 months of turning 21 years old, you would have to register online for a substance retreat. That's what they'll be called, a retreat weekend. These retreats will take place in a warehouse type space, somewhere that has lots of rooms that the individuals can sleep in because it will be a weekend long event, as well as large gathering spaces where the groups of freshly 21-year-olds can try these three substances. The retreats will be small gatherings to ensure that there is a manageable experience so that there's not too many people to too few moderators and professionals. The gatherings will be no more than 20 people, and the event will take place over a weekend starting on a Friday evening and go until a Sunday afternoon. This ensures that there's plenty of space, both for the drugs to be tested safely and the people to have a safe and controlled environment to test the products in. Before any substances are tried, there would be extensive psych evaluations and mental health checks to make sure that the people who are taking the substances are in the right place mentally and they are sound of mind. And it would also help to detect any potential addictive personality traits that could be addressed to help prevent addiction to any of the products being tested. And again, before any substances are tested, there would be an extensive education session that would provide insight on any of the long-lasting effects that any of the three substances could have on somebody. I believe that this is essential to the program as it could help provide information that might not be already known, and it would also potentially help with any addiction because it would show what the long-term effects of the three substances would be. On the retreat, you will start by consuming a pint of beer. This will typically happen on that Friday evening after you've settled in and gotten introduced to one another. The beer would ideally be a domestic lighter beer like a Budweiser that's, very well known so people aren't intimidated by it, and it typically is a crowd pleaser as far as taste. Once that pint of beer has been consumed and you can safely pass a breathalyzer test, you will move on to smoke a marijuana joint. The breathalyzer test is important because we want to make sure that each drug is taken individually and that there isn't any cross effects of smoking a marijuana joint while there's still excessive levels of alcohol in your system. Once the marijuana joint has been smoked and the high has been passed safely, you will then do a line of cocaine. The cocaine is last because it tends to be the biggest high of the three, and it will give you plenty of time over the rest of the weekend to sober up before you head home. This ensures that nobody's leaving the retreat in a state that is anything other than sober and fully sound mind. It's also important to mention that this retreat will be heavily monitored and watched by both mental health professionals as well as medical professionals who can oversee the situation and be able to act should anything go awry. A pro of this program is that it removes those rose-colored lenses that younger people can tend to have about things like alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine. It would also make the topics less taboo and more socially talked about and acceptable, and it would become a less special occurrence. You would lose your cool card as a minor being like, oh yeah, I smoked this or I took that. It would just ensure that everybody is on the same level and that it's not this like one up that you can have over one another. Another pro is that doing this mandatory test, you could realize that you may not like the substances and never want to smoke them again or consume them again. This could potentially decrease the amount of people that are locked away for crimes, the amount of driving under the influence incidences, and would make sure that people are taken care of if they are found to have an addiction type personality. If they consume the drugs and find themselves itching for another hit, they could be dealt with, treated, and taken care of properly the first time without it becoming a life threatening issue before that deal gets tested and treated with. A con, of course, could be that the increase that the forced use of these drugs could increase the likeness of the drug. If you smoke a joint and say, wow, I really like that, it could potentially develop into an issue. But I believe that doing things like providing education and resources at the beginning of the retreat would help to negate that. Additionally, I believe that part of the program would be a follow-up appointment. That could be a topic of discussion if you find yourself becoming addicted or sliding down that slippery slope or realizing that another friend of yours is following that path as well. In conclusion, I think that installing a program that requires citizens over the age of 21 to try alcohol, marijuana, and cocaine would decrease the amount of minors that abuse those substances before they are legally allowed to consume them. Doing this would provide extensive education on the effects of the substances that you can have, and it would discourage them to be misused or overtreated in the long run. Thank you.